If you take a look outside at your dinner plate or even at your intestines, you're going to find a common factor. This commonality is genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs. We as consumers need to avoid GMOs and demand the research, labeling, and banning of genetically modified products because they're toxic to our bodies as well as the environment. In order to address the problems with GMOs, we need to avoid purchasing genetically modified products, demand that more research be conducted in this field, and as well as advocate for the proper labeling and banning of these products in the United States. We are surrounded by the effects of GMOs in the foods that we consume daily, the products that we use, and their presence in the environment. After researching this topic thoroughly, I've learned a lot of information on this topic and I'd like to share it with you all. First, I would like to discuss the issues surrounding GMOs and explain why they are, in fact, a problem. GMOs have been proven to be harmful in many ways, not only to us, but to the environment. As of today, there have been few long-term studies conducted regarding the safety of genetically modified products in human consumption. This means that we're not really sure what these GMOs are doing to the human body long-term. However, there is available research about the long-term effects of these products on animals. Research shows that GMOs are harmful on the rats and mice that consume them. According to the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, several animal studies indicate serious health risks associated with genetically modified food. These risks include infertility, immune problems, advanced signs of aging, faulty insulin regulation, and changes in major organs. GMOs significantly increase herbicide use. An herbicide is a substance that is toxic to plants and is used to kill unwanted vegetation. According to Jeffrey Smith, a notable orator on genetically modified foods, most GM or genetically modified plants are herbicide resistant. Because of this, farmers are spraying an extra 383 million pounds of herbicides on genetically modified crops. These toxic herbicides can, in turn, be found in the foods that we consume. One study even found these toxins in the fetus of a pregnant woman. GMOs permanently contaminate the environment. Just like any other plant, GMOs can cross-pollinate with other plants, and their seeds can travel. This means that the spread of GMOs is basically unstoppable. The increasing level of GMOs is threatening to our future generations. Also dangerous for organic farmers. And according to David Gould, an organic certification specialist, virtually all of the seed corn in this country has at least one trace of GMO contamination and often more. Canola oil is as bad, if not worse, and soy is very problematic too. Now that I've addressed the issues with GMOs, I'm going to introduce some solutions to this problem. Avoiding GMOs is the first step. They don't benefit us as consumers and human beings. If we stop purchasing the brands that contain them, we ultimately force the companies that are selling them out of business. For example, there was a consumer rebellion against a GM growth hormone used on cows. Now, companies including Walmart, Starbucks, Dannon, and Yoplait no longer allow this growth hormone to be used on the dairy cows that they buy. It may sound difficult to avoid these GMOs, especially because the products sometimes are not labeled. However, there are websites such as non-GMOproject.org that offer non-GMO shopping guides that make these products easier to identify and more available to you as a consumer. Most generic vegetable oils, mayonnaise, flavorings, artificial sweeteners, vitamin supplements, and even honey are known to contain GMOs. It's also important to consider the food that we eat at restaurants. Make sure to ask what kind of oil they're using to prepare the food. Olive oil and sunflower oil can be suitable alternatives to oils that contain GMOs, like canola oil. Avoid dairy products. Most restaurants do not buy organic dairy products, and there's also harmful GMOs that are found in over 70% of non-organic cheeses in the United States, so this is important to consider. We should ask what foods are being freshly prepared and try to avoid packaged foods, as well as foods that come with a lot of preservatives. Avoid desserts and sodas containing aspartame, which is a genetically modified artificial sweetener. It's common in Diet Coke. We need to demand more research on these GMOs. The majority of the public research supporting GMOs is conducted by Monsanto. Monsanto is a company that produces genetically modified products. Similar to the tobacco companies' marketing techniques in the 40s and 50s, Monsanto reports that their products are indeed safe. Today, we know that cigarette use causes cancer in addition to other serious health problems. What are future generations going to know about the effects of GMOs? Independent research has been attacked and suppressed. Researchers from smaller companies that are against the use of GMOs have been attacked, fired, threatened, and even denied funding for their research. Most media will not cover the research that does not support the use of GMOs. Data is skewed and is misrepresented by mass media as well as the government. In 2008, when Barack Obama took the presidency, and Mr. Michael Taylor, also known as Monsanto Mike, was appointed to the head of food safety of the FDA. He is also the former vice president of Monsanto. Another appointed official was Mr. Tom Vilsack. He too worked in the biotech industry and is now the Secretary of Agriculture. Both of these men are publicly supportive of GMOs. Next, labeling GMOs should be considered mandatory. 61 countries, over 40% of the world's population, in fact require labeling for GM products. It is important for GM products to be labeled so that it's easier for us to avoid them. As I said earlier, by avoiding these products, consumers can in turn cause these companies to stop producing the products. It's a basic right for consumers to be aware of what is exactly in the food that we eat. Just like the nutrition facts, the labeling of GMOs present in the food should be on the packaging of these products. If Monsanto and other companies suggest that GMOs are so safe, why would they not want to advertise their products even further? Ultimately, GMOs should be banned from the United States. The only way that we know that we're safe from the negative effects of GMOs is if they're not allowed in our country. There are many petitions and movements online to ban GMOs in the United States, which you can be a part of. And I want to emphasize how important it is that we as consumers take a stand. We need to let major corporations know that we understand that there are negative effects that go hand in hand with consuming GMO products. And we don't want to purchase their products until we know that they are safe. Now that I've talked about the problem with GMOs and suggested a few possible solutions, I want to conclude. We as consumers need to avoid GMOs and demand the research, labeling, and even banning of these GM products because they're toxic to our bodies and to the environment. In order to address the problems with GMOs, we need to avoid purchasing GM products, demand that more research be conducted and publicized, as well as demand the labeling and banning of these products in our country. Everything from the butterflies we see outside to the future of this country is affected by GMOs being produced and sold today, and it's up to us to put an end to it. Next time that you're grocery shopping or even ordering a meal at your favorite restaurant, remember to say no to GMOs. Thank you.